Testing. Testing, testing. Oh,
No, just black with, yeah, the pedicure is a little while, but nobody can see it.
testing, testing,
Well, summertime you work.
testing, testing.
It depends on the culture of the shore, we'll see.
Testing.
We want to see it.
Okay, so then yes, to make you happy. Very, we actually were totally informed. Yeah. But Kabod converted you? Well, actually, our small group. Yeah, I know, so a lot of our small group goes to conservative. Yeah. So.
Testing.
Yeah. And he plays now the djembe with Evan. Oh. Evan's in our small group. And Heather. And he. Oh, wow. My husband left. He actually, my husband actually started.
Hey, Steve. Shabbat shalom.
And very early on, he switched to guitar because he didn't like the.
Sorry to hear about your delay.
That's a guitar. It's easier to.
You may have been there before.
Music, you know, I don't know.
And we were kind of scheduling, rushing to get Jill's in,
And
to
now.
get in. She's all, we're all paid up on our insurance for the year, so.
Oh.
Did it now?
It's about
Free. It's not-
Nice to meet you. So one of my names, I guess.
Well, that's also,
Very nice, very nice.
close.
Yeah, thank you.
But if I went ahead, but I would reach my maximum with the surgery, then I would reset in January. Right, so.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Hey, Eric, Shabbat shalom. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh, God, that's such a fun.
Shabbat shalom, Steve.
Hey, man.
Shalom.
Good to see you.
How you feeling, everybody?
Good.
Oh,
I
good.
did
Yep.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
I found out it got postponed.
Oh, okay.
My wife's gonna be here.
There's no cuts in
That's
this.
a take question.
So, it was a good for like
She's gotta have some custom.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I feel very good, I feel very connected to your mom.
Yes.
Maybe you want to do it today or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wrote a little.
Yeah, good, good. I'm looking forward to it.
It almost seems like normal.
Evan, you have your sunglasses.
Hello. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, Ari. Good to see you. Welcome back.
Can I,
I can't, can you go after my
you don't have your reading glasses? The sign that says you have to wear an absence right there, is that true? Okay, can I either take it out or can I? It says you have to have a mask on. So I just didn't want to like put people off.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I can't tell Steve too, but the check, calm down a second. So Michael is gonna be here today too, so could we do our anniversary blessing today instead of next week?
Sure.
Okay,
My pleasure.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Just wanna let you know before services.
Oh, good. I appreciate that. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so glad that, I'm
Yeah,
glad
I
that
just-
I'm here, and I wasn't originally planning to be here, so it's
I
great.
know, is your knee okay? Didn't have any surgery?
No, the surgery got postponed. It was hernia.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I messaged Wendy yesterday, I'm like, ooh, it's too late to message anybody else. She said, just talk to them right before services. And we'll get, we'll tell Steve, 'cause his hands out all the way up.
Yeah?
We're gonna do, anniversary blessing for Michael and I this week instead of next week. It's on the wiki for next week, but, so whatever, all y'all wanna give us third or fourth or whatever.
Okay.
Because I'm a lady, but he's not, so usually it's the other ones, right?
Okay, well, you can do it either way if you
Hey,
want.
whatever, later on is fine, okay. They'll be here in a bit, so.
So Steve, you'll go brush your hair. Either way, whatever.
I've been working on it.
Good, I look forward to it.
He knows what he's doing. That's all.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to begin, and Shabbat Shalom to all of you who are tuning in remotely. We're going to begin on page 102 in Sidur Lev Shalem, towards the bottom. Hareini mekabel alai mitzvat haborei ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha l'reacha kamocha hareini mekabel alai mitzvat haborei ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha l'reacha kamocha. Go ahead and turn to page 103. Please rise if you're able. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesechvi bina lahavchin ben yom u'ben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani b'tzomo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa Ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'yaev koach. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam Yiratzon mifanecha Eloheinu melech haolam. Unenu hayom v'chol yom lechenu lechesed u'rachamim beinecha u'bnei kol ra'enu timinenu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomer chasadim tovim la'amo Yisrael. May be seated. Please, we'll turn ahead to page 120. Mizmor shir Chanukat habayit leDavid arumim Adonai lekidei Haitani your day boys. One may lie down crying at night, but wake in the morning with joyful song. We're 9 lines from the bottom, and then this nigun continues 5 lines from the bottom. So 9 and 5. Page 120. Elecha Adonai ekra ve'el Adonai etchanan. Elecha Adonai ekra ve'el Adonai etchanan. Shema Adonai v'choneni Adonai heye ozer li. Shema Adonai v'choneni Adonai heye ozer li. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Yai, nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, 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 nai. Yai, nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, nai, nai. Ya, na, nai, 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 nai. Yai, nai, nai. הפכת מצפתי למחולי, פיתחת סקיף תעזרני שמחה, למען יזמרך כבוד ולא יתום, אדוני אלוהי לעולם עודך. Mourner's Kaddish, page 121. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון וביומי חון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Page 122, please stand. ברוך שאמר והיה עולם ברוך Baruch עושה וראשית, ברוך אומר ועושה, ברוך עוזר ומקיים, ברוך מרחם על הארץ, ברוך מרחם על הבריות, ברוך משלם שכר טוב לרעיו, ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח, ברוך פודה ומציל, ברוך שמו. Let's go! Yalla lai, yalla lai, yalla la 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 lai, yalla lai, lai 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 lai, yalla lai, yalla lai, yalla lai, yalla lai, la 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 lai. Na nai 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 na nai 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 na nai na 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 nai ya na nai 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'el ha'av ha'rachaman ha'mehulal b'fi ha'mahon mishpachot. יחיד כעולמי, מלך משובח ומפואר עד שמו הגדול, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל בתשבחו. You may be seated. Page 134. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני וזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נעלה עלי. מה גלו מעשיך, אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. צדיק התמר יפרע כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני וחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון ושבע, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולתה בו. Page 136. אשרי יושבי ביתך, אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יהללוך סלה. עוד יהללוך סלה. שם ג'היים שכח אלוה, אשריים שערן עליו דלת אביד. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה. Page 141. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. El Bekocho, hallelujah, Birki Hauso, hallelujah, Vigorotav, hallelujah, Kerov Gulo, Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. With shofar, hallelujah. Take a shofar, hallelujah. Nevel vechinor, hallelujah. Betofu macho, hallelujah. Bemini ve'ugam, Kohan Shamate, hallelujah. hallelujah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. V'tzilt le'shama, hallelujah. V'tzilt le'truah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shamate, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen. Baruch Adonai Mitzion Shochem Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael, Osei Niflaot Levado, Uvaruch Shem Kevodo Le'olam, Yimalei Kevodo Ad Kol Haaretz, Amen v'Amen. We're on page 145. Nishmat Kol Chai, Tevarech et Shimcha, Adonai, Eloheinu, Veruach kol basar, Tifa'eru tromem, Zichrecha Malkeinu Tamim. Were our mouths as filled with song as the sea, and our tongues could sing endlessly like countless waves, and our lips could utter limitless praise like the sky, and our eyes could shine like the sun and the moon. Our arms could spread heavenward like eagle's wings, and our feet as swift as deer. We would still be unable to fully express our gratitude to you, Adonai, God and God of our ancestors. Mimitzrayim galtanu, Adonai Eloheinu mibeit abatim v'titanu. And the organs you formed within us, and the spirit and the soul that you breathed into our nostrils, and the tongue that you placed in our mouths, they will all thank and bless and praise and acclaim and exalt and honor and sanctify and crown your name. Hallelchan shbecha unvercha unvarech et shem kodshecha kamor leDavid. Baruchi nafshi et Adonai v'chol kiravai et shem kodsho. Ha'el b'tatzumot uzecha hagado b'kvod shemecha. Hagibor lenetzach v'hanora b'noratecha. Hamelech hayoshev al kisei ram v'nisa. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Just real quick before we move into Shacharit and the main body of our service, it's good to see everybody. And just a reminder, please, if you have cell phones, make sure that they're turned off so that we can keep the sanctity of this space. And just a reminder that our masking COVID policy is that if you're not vaccinated, then you need to have a mask on. And if you are, then it's optional. And when we get up to eat, there's for lunch, there's a little bit of a different protocol, so we'll share about that later on.
I was just thinking before coming up here about Joey Weisenberg. Some of you were here for that service, and that kind of got us going into this mode where we all gathered around the shulchan, which was back there, and really did this, and it really lifts it in a way that is hard to do when everybody's spread out, and even more difficult when people were masked. And so we're getting a little bit closer to being back to what Joey taught us to be able to do in the first place. So we're going to continue with Shulchan Aruch, which is found on page 147. ya da da, 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 shokenad maharom vekadosh shemo shokenad maharom vekadosh shemo vechatuv ranenu tzadikim Adonai Yisharim Nahava Nahava Tehila Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Befi Yisharim Tithalam Tithalam Uvdivrei Tzadikim Titbarak Titbarak Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Uvilshon Chasidim Titramam Titramam Uvkerev Kadoshim Titkadash Titkadash Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Emo Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Emo Uvachalot Rehevot Amta Beit Yisrael Merina Yebarak Shimcha Malkeinu Bechol Dor Vador Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Shokenad Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Shochen Chovat Kol Yisrael Lefanek Adonai Leheinu V'Lehevotenu Lehodod, lehalel, leshabech, lefa'eh, leramim, lehader, levarek, ve'alav, lekalnes, all kol direi, shirat b'tishbachot, David ben Ishai, avdacha meshimchecha, yishtabach shimcha, lehav malkeinu, ahel hamelech hagedol v'kadosh shemai shemai ra'aretz, ki lecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu. Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da da da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da da da, yeah. da da da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. Shirush v'chal halel v'zimra ozu memshala netzach Gedula ugivura tehila v'tiferet kedusha u'malchut berahat v'adaot me'atan v'yad olam. All our praise we sing unto you. Berahat v'adaot me'atan v'yad olam. All our praise we sing unto you. Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da da da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da da da. Berahat v'adaot me'atan v'yad olam. All our praise we sing unto you. Berahat v'adaot me'atan v'yad olam. All our praise we sing unto you. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Baruch atah Adonai, El melech gadol b'tishbachot, El ha'odot, Adonai niflaot, Habocher b'shirei zimra, Melech ha'olamim. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei rabbav, Yamad divrei chirutev, Yamlech malchutev v'chayachon, Uvyamechon uv'chayid l'kol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agalav v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarak, Le'olam v'le'meyamaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabak, V'yitvar v'yitраman v'yitnasei, V'yithadar v'yithaleh, V'yithalal shemei l'kudusha, B'richu, Li'elo min kol brechatav, V'shiratav, Tushbechatav v'nechematav, Da'amiram le'alma, V'yimaru amen. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer v'ret choshek osei shalom v'ret hakol hakol yaducha v'hakol yishapchuka v'hakol yomru ein kadosh kadosh hakol yomru. And we're going to pick it up at the caret on the bottom of page 150. Ein kirchecha, v'ein zulatacha, efes piltecha, u'mito melach. Ein kirchecha, Adonai Eloheinu b'olam hazeh, v'ein zulatacha, malkeinu l'chayel ha'maba, efes piltecha, go'aleinu, v'yemot ha'mashiach, v'ein do melach, v'oshienu liat ha'metim. The top of page 151. El Adon al kol ha'masim, Barak u'mora b'tiko neshama, Kalu etuvo malei olam, Dar kuna tzivon alato, Ha'mita'el, שבר אלוהינו יצרם באביב ובשכל קורח ורע נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו נפיקים נוגה שמחים בסייתן וששים ויום עושה בהם על רצון כל כבוד נותנים לשמו צלב רינה בזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש רזי רחוק רעד ותקים סברנם שבעת נותנים לו כל המרום תיברת גדולה שרפים נרים והיות הקודש יאי די 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 יאי די די We're going to continue with on page 152 at the top. לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים ביום השביעי. At the carrot on page 152. תתברך מושיענו אשר בך מעשה ידיך ועל מהורי אור שעשית יפרוק הסלע. Now we're going to move on to page 153 at the top. תתברך צורנו מלכנו בקדושים ישתבח שמך למגינו. כולם אהובים, כולם עברים, כולם גיבורים וכולם עושים באימה וברעה רצון קונם וכולם פותחים את בהם בקדושה ובטהרה בשירה ובזמרה ומברכים ומשבחים ופרים ומקדישים ומגריצים ומקדישים את שמו אל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליוצרם בנחרה בשפה רע ובנימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים יראה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך על הארץ כבודו והיום בחיית הקודש ברעש גדול מתנסים לעומת שרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני מנקומו. המחדש בתורה בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית כאמור לעושה אורים גדולים כי לעולם חסדה אור חדש לציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו לראות ברוך אתה אדוני 154, we're going to start at the top. Ahava Rabba Avtanu Avinu Eloheinu Hem Gedolah V'Teirat Hamatal Aleinu Avinu Ba'aveinu Ba'avor Avoteinu Shebaruchu B'cha V'tarech li Chukei Chaim Tichonenu Utlanenu Avinu Abarachamam Amarachem Rachem Aleinu Teim Belibeinu Lehavinu Haskir L'shmor Elav Elod At this point, we're going to gather up the four corners of our talit with our tzitzit. It's an opportunity to remind ourselves about the unity of things, bringing all these things together. I know when I was learning about the Shema, think about the idea that it's about monotheism, but the Kabbalists, the mystics, teach us that it's much more than that. In fact, it's not just about monotheism, but it's about the unity of all things. It's about the presence of God in all of us, in all that we are and all that we are made of. It's the fact that we are all the same, actually. We are all stardust, actually, all gathered together in this place. And so the differences that we perceive between ourselves and between everything else around us is actually an artificial construct, and that we are really all one. And so this unity can come through to us here. And when we live with that notion of unity, it really changes the way we look at each other and the world around us. And so I invite you to kind of go into the Shema with that thought in mind. And so we gather up our tzitzis. And there's lots of different traditions. Some people change it from one hand to another. Some people and I have a way of just gathering them up here. And I was kind of taught to gather them up earlier on, and then at this point in time, you wrap them around your finger to really kind of take hold of things. And so that's been my tradition. And so we're going to continue at the carrot on page 154. V'havienu l'shalom me'arban kanfot haaretz v'tolikenu komemiut le'artzenu ki el poel Yeshua tata uvanu v'charta mikolam velashon v'keraftanu l'shimcha gadol selah be'emet l'hodot lecha u'yachelcha bi'ava Baruch atah Adonai habocher v'Yisrael bi'avot Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'chol nafshecha u'chol miotecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzvacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shipta b'beitecha u'leftecha v'derech u'shofcha u'kumecha u'shartam liot ha'yodecha v'hayu totofot bein einecha u'chaftam al mezuzot b'beitecha u'visharecha. And we continue on the top of page 156. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei v'gem v'doratam v'natnu v'tzitzit hakanaf b'til techelet v'yahahem l'tzitzit v'temoto Uzkartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher em zonim achareihem l'man tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hem geroshim elahachem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Otzeiti Echem M'Eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Emet V'yatziv v'nachon v'kayom v'yashar v'naman v'nayim v'narav v'yadim At the top of page 157 of the carrot, Ledor v'dor hu kayam ishmo kayam, v'chiso nachon Machutecho, to, Benamurato la'ad kayamet, Rav Chaim nechamadim la'ad, Ule'ulamim. Emet shatahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elahei Avotenu, Malkeinu melech Avotenu, Go'elenu Go'el Avotenu, Yotzreinu Tzor Yeshuatenu, Podenu Matzilenu, V'elam Shemecha, Ein Elohim Zulatecha, Ezrat Avotenu, Atahu Me'olam. I'm going to continue at the top of page 158, Mimi triangle. And 5 lines up from the carrot on page 158. Ram v'nisa gadol v'nora maspir kein u'makbia shefalim motzir asirim ufode anavim v'yodeh alim v'ermun elah v'mo be Tehillah le'elel barak barak Moshe ifnei Israel echanu shira b'simcha rabav yamru chulam micha mocha be'elim Adonai micha mocha nedar b'kodesh norati lot osef shira chadasha shibchu go'elem l'simcha l'safat hayam yachad kulam hoduv lehem lehu v'yomru Adonai imlok le'olam va'ed. And before we continue, I'm going to stop at this point and just mention we're about to enter the Amidah. It's our opportunity to be able to use either the words on the page in Hebrew or English, or to find words on our own. There are certainly plenty of nice commentary on the margins. And at the same time, we can also find words in our own heart and use those as we go forward. And we can use those words as we go forward. So I'm going to attempt to do a full repetition of the Amidah. And so I invite you to go on silently as we finish up this part on the bottom of page 158. Sur Israel, kumam yespat Israel, udechnu mecha Yehuda Israel, go aleinu Adonai tzavot shemo, kedosh Israel, baruch atah Adonai, ga'al Israel. continue now with the repetition of the Amidah on page 159. Please rise as we begin.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avoteinu Elokei Avraham v'Elokei Yitzhak v'Elokei Yaakov Elokei Sarah Elokei Rivka Elokei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hara El Elyon Gomer Chazonim Tovim v'Komei Hakol וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומנהיגו את לפניהם למען שמו ויאהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע כמגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה, רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומציל אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך, מלך מנהיג ומחייב ומצמיח ישועה. ונעמדת לך לאות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחייב המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמך לשם אותו משמי מרום, ככתוב היד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך על הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר הזק נשמים קול, מתנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך יבוא אדוני במקומו. ממקומו מכנו כף יד, ותמלוק עלינו כי מנחנו לך, מתי תמלוק בציון? בקרב ימינו לעולם ועת תשכון, תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור נגיגה, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראנה מלכותך בחרה אמור בשירי וזירה עמדי דוד משך צאתך, ימלוך העולם מלך ציון, לדור ודור הללויה, לדור ודור נגיד גלך, ולנצח נצחים קודשה נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו ופינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Continuing on page 162, ישמח משה במתנת חלקו, כי אבא נאמן קראת לו, כליל תפארת בראשו נתת, ביעמדו לפניך על הר סיני, ושני לוחות אבנים הריד בידו, וכן וכתוב בהם שמירת שבת, וכן כתוב בתורתך, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורתם ברית עולם, ידי ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. לגוי הארצות, ולא הנחלתו מלכנו, לעבדי פסילים, וגם משועתו, ולא ישור ערלים. כי לישראל עמך נתת באהבה, לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת, עם מקדשי שיביקו. לם ישבעו ויהגנו מטובך, והשיב רצית בך, וקידשת חמדת ימים, אותו קראת זכר למעשה לראשית, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצי ונחותנו, קדשך קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. סבנו, סבנו, סבנו מטובך, סבנו, סבנו, סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, ותרא ליבנו, ותרא ליבנו, ותרא ליבנו לעבדך באמת, ותרא ליבנו, ותרא ליבנו, ותרא ליבנו לעבדך באמת. Shabbat Kodshecha, V'nuchu v'Yisrael Mekadesh Shemcha, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael v'filatam, v'hashevet avodah lidbiritecha, v'filatam b'havat yigabel b'ratzon, v'uthil ratzon tamid avodah Yisrael amecha, v'techazena einenu b'shuva l'ratzon, Barachamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamachazir Shekinato L'Tzion, Modim Anachnu La, Shetat Hu Adonai Eloheinu V'Elohei Avotenu V'Olam V'ed. We thank you for you are ever our God and the God of our ancestors. You are the bedrock of our lives, the shield that protects us in every generation. We thank you and sing your praises for our lives that are in your hands, for our souls that are under your care, for your miracles that accompany us each day, and for your wonders and your gifts that are with us each moment. evening, morning, and noon. You are the one who is good, whose mercy is never ending, the one who is compassionate, the one whose love is unceasing. We have always placed our hope in you. Hatov kilo chulo rachamecha hamrachem kilo tamu chasyedecha melam kavinu lach. V'al kulam yidbarak v'yidramam shemchenu tamid v'yolam lahed. V'chol chayim yiduka selah ha'alu et shemcha b'yemet. Ha'el yezruatenu v'ezruatenu selah. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shemcha l'hoda'oda'od. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, barkeinu b'bracha, ham shaleshet v'torah, ha'kohanim am kadeshek, am yidei Moshe abdecha, v'hamara mipin Aharon uvanav, kohanim am kadesheka ka'amur, yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yehei, Yirei Adonai, panav elecha v'huneka. Yaseh Adonai, panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Sim shalom ba'olam tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'akol Yisrael amecha, barchenu avinu kulanu ke'ehad bi'or paneka, ki bi'or paneka, natan lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chaim v'rach chesed, stacha v'racha v'rachmim v'chaim v'shalom b'yato, be'enecha livreit am kol Yisrael v'kol, eit uvkol sha'a b'shlomecha, baruch atah Adonai, hambarak etam Yisrael b'shalom. Amen. And we're going to turn to page 166. And you can do the first paragraph quietly on your own, then we're going to conclude with the 3 lines just below that. Yularatzon imrefi v'egyone b'lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goeli Osei shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu V'yakol Yisrael v'yakol Yoshvei Tevel V'yimeru amen. Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai rai yai rai rai yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai. This part of the service on page 167 with the Kaddish Shalem. Yekadal v'yekadash shemer rabba, yamad divrach v'rutei v'yamlech machotei v'chayachonu v'mechonu v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehesh mer rabba mevorach le'olam alamei amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu le'elam min chol rechata v'shiratav tushbechata v'nechematav da'amiram le'omav imru amen. Titkabal slotahon davotahon dekol Israel kadam ovahon t'vishmayav imru amen. Yehesh lomar rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Israel imru amen. Oh, say shalom b'mromav, say shalom, aleinu v'yakol Israel, v'yakol Yoshvei Tevel, v'yimeru amen. Yeah. Thanks for bearing with me.
Okay, Asher Koch, Steve. Our Torah service is on page 168. Whoever's opening the Ark can come forward. Ark holders and Torah holders. Ein kamocha be'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'hador Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai os li'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Avarachamim, heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki becha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa Adon olamim. Please rise. Vayehi binso Aharon, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, veyafusu oivecha, veyanusu misanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Master of the universe, I ask your blessings for our Kihila Kedoshah, our sacred community, for those who will be called before the Torah for Aliyot, for all those who lead us in prayer and song this morning, and for all those who devotedly involve themselves with the needs of this community. Master of the universe, spread a shelter of your peace over the holy land of Eretz Israel. Protect our land so that it can be a source of goodness and Torah for its inhabitants and for the entire world. Peteach et libenu b'toratecha. Open our hearts to your Torah. Inspire us to make Torah a part of our lives. Let us be touched by the words and melodies of our prayer, so that we may keep you in our minds and in our hearts now and always. Baruch atah shomech tefillah. Blessed One, hear our prayers, and let us say, Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gahadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai unerom ema shemo yachtav. Lecha Adonai hagidula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'haod ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai amamacha ve'amid na'aseh lechol erosh Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'haraglav kadoshu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'har kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
You may be seated. So, what a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos morning. I want to just kind of reiterate, since there's a lot of people in here in an inside space, just for those of you who came in, I'm just going to make the announcement again. Our policy right now at Temple Bethel, because we are in the moderate range in Orange County, is that if you are vaccinated, wearing a mask in this space right here is optional, but we do encourage you to keep your mask on if that's what makes you feel comfortable here, so please do. Please note that there is space and you can spread out a little bit more. There's some seats over here, so if you feel more comfortable being a little bit farther away, nobody's going to take it personally. We know what the kind of times we're living in, so please feel free to do what you need to do for yourself. Our protocol, just to reiterate a little bit around the Torah, is that if you come up for an aliyah, you can choose to do your aliyah masked or unmasked if you're vaccinated. But when the reader goes ahead and reads, please take a step back over here like this so that they can be able to read without a mask and feel okay about that. Okay.
Our parsha is Vayigash, Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who were here last week, we're sorry to disappoint you. Only one Torah this week. So if you're waiting for the others to, come down or to emerge, you're not going to have it. Use this one.
So we'll begin on page 283. Page 283.
Vayazor v'genu v'yashir l'chol ha'chosim bo v'nomar amen ha'kol ha'vogot Eloheinu tu kol v'torah Kohen Krav Ein Kan Kohen Yamod
Moshe, go for it.
Simcha ben Yehuda.
Simcha ben Yehuda
Lipa.
Lipa Amitat Teva
Moshe Liron.
Moshe Liron
Ben Yehuda Lipa.
Ben Yehuda Lipa
Amitat Teva.
Amitat Teva Rishonim Rosh Hatan Torah Moshe B'Kishato Vatem Ha'Bikim B'Nai Levaichem Chayim Kolchem Hayom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yeah. ואת יהודה שלח לפניו אל יוסף לראות לפניו גושנה ויבואו ארצה גושן ויסור יוסף מרכבתו ויעל מקרית ישראל אביו גושנה וירא אליו ויפול אל צוואריו ויבך על צוואריו עוד ויאמר ישראל אל יוסף המותה הפעם אחרי ראותי את פניך כי עודך חי.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
So just want to note, as we're reading this week's Parsha, the third part of Vayigash, we see that already Joseph is talking with Pharaoh to get the rest of his brothers and his family settled in the land of Goshen. Now, the land of Goshen is this really nice pastoral area that's separate from the rest of Egypt. And I think it's really important to notice that this is a bit of a strategy, and this is also something for us to reflect upon today, which is that he sets them separate. And the reason that he sets them separate is because He wants them to be able to keep their own customs, even being in the land of Egypt, and their own practices and all of that. So he puts them aside, and as a result, they are able to thrive and be nurtured. And even though Joseph is kind of the epitome of, in some sense, of the one who's assimilated, he's second in power to Pharaoh. He's deeply in and helping reinforce the Egyptian culture. He's also providing space for his family and his people to grow their own traditions. Now, one of the things that is interesting to reflect upon is he puts them separate from everybody else. On one hand, they're able to thrive, but on the other hand, if we know that what this is going to lead to, because eventually, when the new Pharaoh comes, he basically talks about the Israelites being a threat, and this family being a threat to Egypt, and that's how they all get enslaved. Now, it's an interesting question to say, if they were all integrated and living among the people in Egypt, where people knew each other, that you knew your neighbor, you knew your Jewish neighbor, you knew who it was, would people objectify the Israelites, would the Egyptians objectify so much, and would that in slavery even be able to happen? By them being separate over to the side, it's easy to not have a whole lot of interaction and for people to grow all kinds of ideas about who those Israelite people are. So that's the tension that we live in. How much are we part of our own culture and being able to have interactions and get to know our neighbors and have those connections? And what does it take in the middle of all that to not get lost in the dominant culture, but stay connected to what our own practices and values are?
Okay, the second aliyah, still in chapter 46, verses 31 to 34. Ya'amod, Raphael ben Meir, Betila Shani.
Baruchu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mikol amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Yosef el Achav ve'el Beit Aviv Ele v'agida leParo va'omra elav Achai uveit avi asher beretz Canaan banu alai. Banu alai. Yeah. Banu alai. Sorry. V'hanoshim ro'et zon ki anshe miknei hayu utzonam uvkaram achot lechol asher lachem heviu v'haya ki yikra lachem paro va'omar ma masechem v'amartem Anshe miknei hayu avadecha minu reinu ad ata gam anachnu v'gam avinu avotenu bavur heshvu ba'eretz Goshen ki toavat Mitzrayim kol ro'et zon.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notabach l'teinu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
The third aliyah begins chapter 47, verses 1 through 6. Ta'amod. Nechamalei Abat Lezer Shlishit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. ויבוא יוסף ויגיע לפרעה ויאמר אבי ואחי וצאנם ובקרם וכל אשר להם באו מארץ כנען והינם בארץ גושן ומקצה אחיו לקח 5 אנשים ויציגם לפני פרעה ויאמר פרעה אל אחיו מה מעשיכם ויאמרו אל פרעה רואה צאן עבדיך גם אנחנו גם אבותינו ויאמרו אל פרעה לגור בארץ בנו כי אין מרעה לצאן אשר לעבדיך כי כבד הרעב בארץ כנען ועתה ישבו נא עבדיך בארץ גושן ויאמר פרעה אל יוסף לאמור אביך ואחיך באו אליך ארץ מצרים לפניך היא בנתה בארץ הושב את אביך ואת אחיך ישבו בארץ ארץ גושן ואם ידעת ויש בם אנשי חיל ושמתם שרי מקנה על אשר לי
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Fourth Aliyah, verses 7 through 10. Yahod, Eliezer, Ben David, Rivi'i.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bocha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayave Yosef vayaget. That's wrong place. Wrong place. That's the wrong place. ויבא יוסף את יעקב אביו ויעמידהו לפני פרעה ויברך יעקב את פרעה ויאמר פרעה אל יעקב כמה ימי שני חייך ויאמר יעקב אל פרעה ימי שני מגורי 30 שנה 100 ורעים היו ימי שני חיי ולא השיגו את ימי שני חיי אבותיי בימי מגוריהם ויברך יעקב את פרעה ויצא מלפני פרעה
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher notan lanu Torah emet v'chaye Olam Notad B'Sochenu, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
We now have an opportunity for a Misha Berach prayer for those who are in our lives who are suffering from physical illness, mental illness, or addiction. I'll say the formula and then you'll have the opportunity to say names. So if you do have a name or a list of names, please stand and let me know. Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak v'Yakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, u'yivarech v'yirapeh et.
Gila bat Rechaleah, Gila, Rachel Sharon, Shura, bat Ze'ev, Yaakov ben Ruth, and Huda Ari ben Gora.
Abraham ben Sarah, Abraham ben Miriam, Ariana Posner.
Kern Howard, Pat Frischmuth, Aaron Ben Raphael, Moshe Ben Raphael.
Marion Houseman and Barbara Dunn.
David Aaron Lyman.
Ed Evans, Teferet Ben Bat Hana, Melinda Pencal.
Howard Richmond, Gary Keith.
Miles Feynman, Beth Cooper, Roberta and Bill Shear, Sapora Batsara, Karen and Larry Davis, Joe Lukovich, Hy Cooper, Debbie Solomon, Jody Notel, Janet Kalin, Coco Cardiel, and Jill Birch.
Rex Johnson, Sherry Krause, Rich, Sue, Michael, and Haley Kunsky, Jen Whedon, Gladys Bushin, Robert and Pete Moss, Rosa Rodriguez, Monique and Christian Manteau, Wendy Lupo, Sheila and Lottie Weisberg, Bill Hofstein, and Jeffrey Hilton. Thank you.
Vanessa Rosa and baby Rosa, who was born 33 weeks, so.
All those mentioned, Dvorak, about Saram, Tetel, about Nima, about Leonora, Chayat, about Miriam, Caesar, Vanessa Malka, Raphael, Vanessa Malka, Edward Anderson, Catherine Khrushchev here, Sarah Batayas, or about Sarah, Israel Yaakov and Chayat.
Line branch to Sarah, Chayachana, Benjamin Chanatori, Bat Sarah, Barbara Stomberg, Marvin Stomberg, Haravara, David Ben Esther, Raphael Ben Esther, Ross Arts, Janice Burstein, Nancy Larson, Morty Soslin, Zachariah Yosef Ben Beora Batya, Shoshana Tzvia Bat Yocheda.
Marlon Redden and Ellen Dawson.
Philip Tauber, Sharon Rutbat, Chana v'Ze'ev. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yima'le Rachamim Aleihem Lachizikam Urapotam V'yishlach Nehem Meira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'tok Sha'ar HaCholim V'chazek et Yedei HaOzkim B'tzorcheihem Shabati Milizok Refuah Krova Lavo Hashtabag Alav V'zman Kariv V'nomar Amen El Narefanala El Narefanala El Narefanala Refuah Shlema El Narefanala El Narefanala El Narefanala Refuah Shlema.
The fifth Eliyahu will continue is on page 286, verses 11 through 19. Talmud, Bajaleah, Eliyahu, Devorah, Eliyahu ben Yaakov Echana Chamishi. I got the page.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborah
Baruch Adonai Hambarat Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim. V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
On page 286, verse 11.
Amen. Vayoshev Yosef et aviv ve'et echav, vayiten lahem achuza be'eretz Mitzrayim, b'meitav haaretz be'eretz Ramses, kasher tziva parao, vayechakel Yosef et aviv ve'et echav, ve'et kol beit aviv lechem lefi'i hataf, ve'lechem ein b'chol haaretz ki kaved hara'av me'od, Vatela eretz Mitzrayim ve'eretz Canaan mipnei hara'av, vayelaket Yosef et kol hakesef hanimsa be'eretz Mitzrayim, uve'eretz Canaan bashever asher heim shovrim, vayave Yosef et hakesef beita paro, vayitom hakasef me'eretz Mitzrayim u'me'eretz Canaan, vayavo'u kol Mitzrayim el Yosef le'mor, Havalanu lechem velama namut negdecha ki afes kasef. Vayomer Yosef havu miknechem ve'etna lachem b'miknechem im afes kasef. Vayaviu et miknehem el Yosef. Vayiten lahem Yosef lechem basusim uv'mikneh hatzon uv'mikneh habakar uv'chamorim. Vayena halom balechem b'chol miknehem bashana hahi. Vatitom hashana hahi, vayavo elav bashana hashenit, vayomru lo nichached me'adoni, ki im ta'am ha'kesef, umikneh ha'behema el adoni, lo nishar lifnei adoni, bilti et giviatenu v'admatenu, lama namut le'enecha, gam anachnu gam admatenu, kene otanu et admatenu belechem, belachem, V'nihia anachnu v'admatenu avadim lifharo, v'tein zera v'nichye v'lo namut, v'hadama lo tesham.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam natav v'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten HaTorah.
Amen. The sixth aliyah is verses 20 through 22. Tamod.
Shifra bat Yisrael.
Shifra bat Yisrael v'tzipara. Shishit. It's marked.
Okay. I don't see the mark. Thank you. Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayiken Yosef et kol admat Mitzrayim lefaro, ki machru Mitzrayim ish sadehu, ki chazak alehem hara'av, vatehi haaretz lefaro, vet ha'am he'evir oto le'arim miktzeh gevul Mitzrayim, Va'ad ketsehu, rak admat hakohanim lo kana, ki chok lakohanim me'et paro, va'achlu et chukam asher natan lahem paro, al kain lo machru et admatam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
The seventh Aliyah on page 288, verses 23 through 27. Tamod, Sarah Chavabat, Abraham V'Gittel, Mordechai,
Ben Ariel.
Ben Ariel, Shvi,
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Yosef el ha'am, hein kaniti etchem hayom ve'et admatchem lefarao, heit lachem zera uzratem et hadama'a, v'haya batfuot, unetatem chamishit lefaro v'arba hayadot, yihye lachem lezera hasadeh, ula'acholchem v'la'asher bevatechem v'lechol etapchem. Vayomru hechi tanu nimtzachen b'nei Adoni, V'hayinu avadim lipara'o, v'yasem ota Yosef l'chok ad hayom hazeh, al admat Mitzrayim lefaro lachomesh, rak admat hakohanim levadam lo hayta lefaro, v'yeshev Yisrael be'eretz Mitzrayim, be'eretz Goshen, v'yechazu ba, v'yifru v'yirbu me'od.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
What a blessing to celebrate your anniversary. How many years?
34.
34. So, both of you have seen a lot of changes together. Changes in your children growing and moving out and getting married and getting ready to have grandchildren and new work and all of it. And through all of these changes, you have each other and you get to share it together. And my blessing for you in this coming year is that you have moments where you really get to look at each other, see each other, feel all that you've been through together, and really just feel gratitude to God to be able to share this amazing journey with all its changes. Misha berach avotenu Abraham Yitzhak v'Yakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yevarech et Mordechai ben Aryeh Lev ve'et Sarah Chava bat Avraham v'Gittel ba'avor sheba'u hayom lehodot l'shem kodsho al kol hachesed asher gamal lahem miyom chatunatam umiyom simchat libam ad hayom hazeh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmarem v'yatzilem b'kol Torah v'tzukah mikol nega umachala v'yizku lirot tzetzaehem oskim b'Torah uv'mitzvot uv'tzorchei tzibur uv'inyan eretz Yisrael be'emunah v'yishlach bracha v'atzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadehem im kol Yisrael achehem v'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Sandy and Michael, who are here today with gratitude for all the blessings that their 34 years have afforded them. May the Holy One protect and deliver you. May you continue to enjoy God's blessing in the new song of your years to come, embraced by the love of your children, and b'shata'a tova soon your grandchildren, so that they may always live in joy and gladness and peace and companionship. And let us say, Amen. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, and siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, and tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, and siman tov, yelah.
We rise for the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rava v'yomadi rakurute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv v'yimeru amen Yehi shmei rava mevarach Le'olam u'le'olmei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yapar v'yitran v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha Richu li'ela min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damihiran be'alma v'yimeru Amen. You may be seated. The Maftir Aliyah, we go back to verse 25 on page 288. Ta'amod Hazan. Yocheved Leah. Bat Yitzchak Eliezer. Maftira. Too many moving parts today.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Vayamru hechi tanu nimtzachen be'enei Adoni v'hayinu avadim leparao vayasem ota Yosef lachok ad hayom hazeh al admat Mitzrayim lefaro lachomesh rak admat kohanim levadam lo hayta lefaro vayeshev Yisrael be'eretz Mitzrayim be'eretz Goshen ve'chezu ba'a vayifru vayirbu me'od.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Lifting and tying. Yamod Hamagvia Ta'amod Hagalele. Please rise. V'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael miyad Adonai miyad Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. I didn't even know we had this book.
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe.
You may be seated. Haftarah this morning is from Yechezkel, chapter 37. It's on page 291. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emerim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'b'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael Amo ובנביאי האמת והצדק. ויהי דבר אדוני אלי לאמור, ואתה בן אדם, קח לך עץ אחד, וכתוב עליו ליהודה ולבני ישראל חבריו, ולקח עץ אחד, וכתוב עליו ליוסף עץ אפרים, וכל בית ישראל חבריו. וקרב אותם אחד אל אחד, לך לעץ אחד, והיו לאחדים בידיך. וכאשר יאמרו אליך בני עמך לאמור, הלא תגיד לנו מה אלה לך, דבר עליהם, כה אמר אדוני אלוהים, הנה אני לוקח את עץ יוסף אשר ביד אפרים ושבטי ישראל חבריו, ונתתי אותם עליו את עץ יהודה, ועשיתים לעץ אחד, והיו אחד בידי. והיו העצים אשר תכתוב עליהם בידך לעיניהם, ודבר עליהם, כה אמר אדוני אלוהים, הנה אני לוקח את בני ישראל מבין הגויים אשר הלכו שם, וקיבצתי אותם מסביב, והבאתי אותם אל אדמתם, ועשיתי אותם לגוי אחד בארץ בהרי ישראל, ומלך אחד יהיה לכולם למלך, ולא יהיו עוד לשני גויים, ולא יחצו עוד לשתי ממלכות עוד. ולא יטמאו עוד בגילוליהם ובשיקוציהם ובכל פשעיהם, והושעתי אותם מכל משפטותיהם אשר חטאו בהם, וטיהרתי אותם, והיו לי לעם, ואני אהיה להם לאלוהים. ועבדי דוד מלך עליהם, ורועה אחד יהיה לכולם, משפטי ילכו, וחוקותי ישמרו ועשו אותם. וישבו על הארץ אשר נתתי לעבדי ליעקב, אשר ישבו בה אבותיכם, וישבו עליה המה ובניהם ובני בניהם עד עולם, ודוד עבדי נשיא להם לעולם. וחרתי להם ברית שלום, ברית עולם יהיה אותם, ונתתים והרביתי אותם, ונתתי את מקדשי בתוכם לעולם. והיה משכני עליהם, והייתי להם לאלוהים, והמה יהיו לי לעם. וידעו הגויים כי אני אדוני מקדש את ישראל בהיות מקדשי בתוכם לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל העולמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ונאמנים דבריך ודבר אחד מדבריך החול לא ישוב ריקם כי אל מלך נאמן ורחמן אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו רחם על ציון כי היא בית חיינו ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו ברוך אתה אדוני משמח ציון בבניך שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו בליהו הנביא עבדך ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו על כיסו לא ישב זר ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת
Our service continues with Ashrei on page 181, and I'll invite Ari up to lead us. Ashrei, Ari.
Take the steps to that. All right, so yes, on page 181. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha, oje hallelujah selah. Tehillah leDavid, aromimcha Elohai hamelech, ve'avarcha shimcha leolam va'ed. Gadol Adonai umchulal me'od, ve'ligdulato ein cheker. Hadar kevod hodecha, ve'divrei niflotecha asicha. Zecher rav tucha yabiu, ve'tzidkatcha yiranenu. Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav. Kevod malchutecha yomeru, ugvuratcha yidaberu. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor vador. Einei chol elecha yisaberu, ve'ata noten lachem et ochlam beito. Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav, vechasid bechol ma'asav. Ritzon Yerayav Ya'aseh, ve'et shavatam yishma v'yoshiyem. Tihilat Adonai yidaver pi, v'yivarech kol basar shem kodsho le'olam va'ed. Anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah. Our service continues on page 183. Please rise. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayaren keren li'amo, tihila lechol chasidav, Livnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Mizmor leDavid. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim. Havul Adonai. Kavod v'aos. Havul Adonai. Kivod shemo yishtakavul Adonai. Tehara kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim. El hakavod irim. Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach. Kol Adonai behadar. Kol Adonai shover arazim. Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanot. Vayarkidem kimo egel Lebanon v'Sirion kimo vein reimim. Kol Adonai hotzet lavodesh. Kol Adonai yachil midbar. Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh. Kol Adonai yeholel hayalot. Vayechesof yeraot ulehalot. Kulo omer kavod. Adonai labul yashav vayeshev. Adonai melech leolam. Adonai Tivarech et amo v'shalom. On page 184. Uvnu voyovar. Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al tazovu eitz chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomchea meushar derachea darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom
Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem. You may be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. What a wonderful morning. So this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about dreams. And this, besides the fact that we're in this part of our Torah, which is very much about dreams, Joseph and his dreams, we're also, I also wanted to share about it because our beloved member B. Wool, who we're commemorating her and celebrating her with her yahrzeit, there's a big lunch planned afterwards. If you didn't know about it, it's happening, that the Wools are sponsoring. But as those of us who know Bee, she was a very, very special person, a sage in our community. And her and I talked a lot about dreams. She very much was, her dream world and dreams in general were very much a part of a gateway to God and a gateway to depth. And, we know from the story of Joseph, and even the Midrash will kind of accent it, that it's really dreams that put Joseph in prison when he talked about it to his brothers and they threw him in the pit. And it was also his dreams, his interpretation of dreams that got him out of prison. And the real question is what are dreams? Are they, as Freud would say, really gateways into understanding our past or how our past influences our present? Or are they, as it's kind of hinted at, or maybe even not even hinted at, maybe said outright, as in this parasha, prophecies of the future? Was Joseph's dreams, did Joseph... and that puts another question ahead, which is, if they are prophecies of the future, is it that there is a destiny that each of us all have, that a sense of fate, of things that are going to unfold, and dreams just become a window into seeing what that future is already? Or is there something about the interpreting of dreams, the interaction with dreams, that allows it to unfold or not? Meaning, is our act of being able to interpret our dreams something that is what is kind of the necessary component to see what the outcome will actually be? Now, we know from the story that Joseph's brothers really saw Joseph's dreams as just projections of his own inner thoughts, desires. He has a dream of standing above them and all of them bowing down to him, which we know actually does turn out and happen in our parsha. And we know from the story as readers that this is something that actually does come to pass. But again, one might say, if Joseph did not share his dream, would the same thing have happened? Meaning, if Joseph did not share his dream and the brothers did not think that what Joseph was sharing was just a projection of his own narcissism, right? I'm so great. I mean, that's what they would even talk about him. They call him the dream master, the Baal HaCholamo. Look, the dream master is coming, meaning in the sarcastic way of, this is just a guy who thinks he's better than us, and he's just gonna, and that's all his dreams are saying. They're looking at in that way. So if they didn't interpret it that way, meaning if they didn't interpret it as a projection of Joseph, most likely they would not have thrown him in the pit, which might not have led to this, which might not have led to that eventually comes down to that place. So that's so to kind of look at some of modern dream theory in the work of Freud and Carl Jung, the real sense of dreams is that dreams are reflections of a lot of different levels of who we are. So on one hand, there's just what's going on in our bodies. And sometimes our dreams can just be a reflection of what's going on in our bodies. I don't know if you've ever had the dream like that when you're getting sick. I've had this before, and or when I am sick, I have a dream of incredible battles going on. Like I'm part of this big battle that's happening, like a war on a battlefield. And like I can wake up and see, yeah, my body is fighting something. And the dream then becomes this image and this projection of what's already going on. Then dreams can come at another level, and there's this level of who we are, which is our own kind of psyche and the things that we're not aware of, the things that we're not conscious of. Maybe they're fears or anxieties we have that suddenly get played out in the dreams. Or maybe we're going through big transitions in our life and our dreams kind of play out what is inside us already. But then if we also go to the work of Carl Jung, he also noticed that people have dreams, people in different cultures and places can have similar dreams of things that are happening, even though they live in totally different places. And he calls this the collective unconscious, that there's almost like a dimension of who we are that's not just bound up in our own individual reality, but is connected to all of humanity, connected to the Jewish people, connected to all of humanity. And sometimes our dreams can tap us into a part of ourselves that is not just personal, but might be called transpersonal, in a sense that who we are is not this, as Alan Watts would call, skin-encapsulated ego that's right here, but that who we are actually has these connections that we don't see. And then if we want to even go even farther than that, what if time is not as linear as we think it is? What if in tapping into these kind of deeper layers, we even begin to transcend time? And we are, if everything in some sense, if time is a mental construct, meaning that it's all we know is all we have is the present, but it's our ability to track the present and to have memory that allows us a sense of time. If we didn't have that, and it was just everything happening always, would we have access to other sources of information that may be in the future, may be in the past, maybe not be here? So there's all this possibility that dreams become information that can be just so unique to us, and it can also go deeper than that. But here's my question, and this is what I want to bring up. The Talmud has a wonderful discussion about this in Tractate Brachot, and they seem to say, and it gets later confirmed in the Zohar, that it's really our interpreting of dreams that makes the difference in how our lives will come out. The Zohar says, a dream that is not interpreted is like a letter that is not read. And come and see. If one does not remember it, it is as if one has never known it. Therefore, whoever forgets a dream and does not know it will not benefit from its fulfillment. So in some sense, the Zohar is almost saying, if you don't have any conscious awareness of your dream, then it's not going to really have any kind of impact on your life, maybe. Another piece here from Tractate Brachot, from the Talmud, is it says, when Shmuel would have a disturbing dream, he would say, all dreams are fabrications. He would just kind of dismiss it. But when he would have a good dream, he would say, could it be that dreams speak fabrications? Does it not say, and he quotes Bamidbar, I speak to him in dreams, like God speaking to him in dreams? So it's almost like here the sage decides if he's going to give credence to what goes on in his dream or not. And that has significance. Another from Brachot says, there were 24 dream interpreters in Jerusalem. I once dreamed a dream and went to all of them, and every single one of them gave me a different interpretation. And they all came true. As they say, all dreams follow the mouth of those that interpret them. So, again, there's this real sense. Is a dream a window into something that's already going to happen? Or is it, and we can even look in the story of Joseph, is it how we interpret the dreams, how we understand them, that's going to have the impact for how things are going to unfold in our lives? And if so, why? So I leave that open. What do you think? Is our interpreting a necessary part in how things will unfold in our lives? Or do dreams have the potential to tell us what's going to happen regardless of what we think of them? Yeah, please, Evan.
Well, it's been my personal experience that a dream in and of itself doesn't give you a window into what's going to happen until you share it with somebody else that you can get an idea of what it means. Because many times I have a dream and I don't understand it. And it's only when I share it with somebody that has a different perspective that can sort of enlighten me as to what it even means or what it might mean. Like you're saying, with multiple people having multiple interpretations, I think it's hard to understand your own dreams, unless it's like pretty obvious. Some things are just plainly obvious, but there's a lot of things that are so hidden that you really can't understand them. It's like studying Talmud. I think if you share it with somebody else and have a discussion, then new insights come out.
Okay, so I'm just going to repeat for those who are online here, is just, Evan is saying that really it's the act of telling the dream to somebody else and getting the feedback that allows you to have some kind of meaningful understanding of the dream. And maybe in that there's something, just like when we, on Yom Kippur, when we do vidui and we confess, there's an aspect of teshuvah, of coming back, that's about articulating it loud. You've got to say it. There's something about, right, our words are very much about creation. God spoke and the world comes into being. There's the same thing about, Passover, articulation, saying it is what helps bring it into reality. So there's that part. And then what Evan's also saying is, well, and also having somebody else's perspective, how they see it outside, may add new meaning to that. The question then still becomes, though, is if you have deeper insight into your dream, does that make any difference in how things are going to unfold in the future? Lonnie, Sandy, and Sue. And then Chava.
I guess it depends upon whether you believe that destiny is already predetermined and you don't have much choice. All you can do is watch it, maybe have some insight to it, but not a lot of control over it. Or you believe you have a lot of control over it, then the dream would give you some awareness of something that would change your behavior that helps make some of those outcomes more probable.
Okay, so Lonnie is saying it really comes down to, do you believe in destiny or not? If you do believe that things are going to come and take a certain way, you might take more seriously what's happening in the dream, change your behavior, and allow it to come forward. Unless maybe you had a dream that something really bad was going to happen, and then you changed your behavior so that it wouldn't happen. And then the question is, would that actually cause it not to happen, or is it going to happen anyway? Right? Okay, Sandy, Sue, and Chava.
A lot of times, I think, and you said this before, our dreams are kind of just what we're trying to work through in our body. Like our dreams are, if I'm stressed about something, I dream stressful dreams, or if I'm trying to figure out how to do something a different way. Sometimes one dream and then another dream, wake up and you have another one, and they seem to build on trying to help you figure out how to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know when I was teaching, I would always have that day before school, that horrible dream. Everything was wrong, missed the time, didn't have the things, everything went wrong. That kind of working your stress out through your dreams.
Right, so what Sandy is saying is that dreams are an insight into what we're not conscious about. And that sometimes paying attention, you can get, it's information. It's not just something, that was just a dream.
It's helping you work it out.
And that through getting that information, it processes, it helps it work it out, whether it's anxiety. Great, thank you. Sue.
I think there are three different kinds of dreams, and for me, it's pay attention to how I feel when I wake up from the dream. Sometimes the dream is what my psyche is trying to work through, and then my symbols are mine. I can't go look in a book. I look at the noun and interpret that symbol for myself and what it means, and then read it back. The other kind of dream might be that I've had a visitation from someone who's passed away, and it feels very different. It feels like they were actually there. And then the other kind of dream I might have is something that I believe is going to happen in the future, because it doesn't make sense with my psyche when it's trying to work through. It doesn't feel like
So when you have that third part, which is the intuition that something is going to happen in the future, how does that affect how you go about your day-to-day, the choices that you make? Does it...
It does. I used to have these like dreams of train crashes and things, and then when they would happen, I thought I caused them.
Hmm.
And so I used to trying to stop remembering my dreams, and now it's just, if it's something that I feel I can prevent, then I will. And otherwise I just trust that if it's something that I can make a difference, then I will, but otherwise, just let it be.
Yeah, yeah. So what Cantor Sue is saying is that, that when she wakes up, she can kind of tell what level of the dream is happening. How does it make her feel? Is it something that's about her own personal biographic thing that's going on? Is it something that's transpersonal? There's a different quality that feels in each one of those. And what I'll say is that for those of you who are saying, wow, I don't have any sense of that kind of thing when I wake up, if I even remember my dreams, I'll just say that it comes, what Cantor Sue is bringing comes from spending time being interested in your dreams, working with your dreams, and learning about those different kind of levels so that you can recognize it. So it is very possible. Chava.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's not all or none, and I would follow up on what Cantor Sue was talking about, where different types of dreams, and sometimes they're just utter nonsense. Like our mind is definitely going into some realm of just fun and silly, and other times, yes, they're foreshadow. A couple of dreams that are foreshadowed things to come. And not all are able to be avoided, so they happen. So I totally support a lot of what you were saying as far as the intuition, and also in playing with like lucid dreaming and being able to have some control of what we're actually dreaming about, and being able to be aware of that.
Yes. So what Chava's bringing, this idea of lucid dreaming, is the sense, have you ever had the experience when you're in a dream and you're aware that it's a dream? You're in the dream and you're aware that it's a dream, and because of that, you suddenly have choice of what you want to do in the dream. How do you want to navigate in it? And that becomes an incredible, very powerful place to be, because you can actually have greater understanding around your own psyche and what's happening. If you have that ability, when I was a kid and I'd have that ability, it would happen. I'd be like, let's fly, or, when I was a teenager, let's find some girls, or, whatever it was, that your dream becomes a playground. But then as we get older and take seriously what we're actually going in, you can actually start to dialogue with characters in your dream, because that's all you, or maybe it's from beyond, and suddenly that awareness in the dream becomes an opportunity for greater self-understanding. So to just kind of sum up and put this together, I'm hoping that one of the takeaways here is that our dreams provide very valuable information for us, and that act of being interested and taking seriously and inquiring into has the potential to move our lives forward in very important, positive, and powerful directions. We do this all the time. We get information from the world, something happens to us in our lives, and it affects how we're going to respond. We make different choices based on what happens to us. The problem is that with dreams, we discount them, right? We say, oh, that's dreams, that's not reality. Just because something is happening inside ourselves, we are having a very real phenomenological experience when we're in the act of dreaming and sleeping. That is real stuff that's going on. Yes, it's in our own inner psyche, it's not the physical world that's out here, but it's also very real. So our discounting, kind of like the brothers did with Joseph, our discounting of that part of our world means that we lose out on opportunities to respond to our experience in the ways that we do when we're in waking lives, that if we paid more attention, we would have that. And the last piece to tie it up is Rabbi Lawrence Kushner brought forth this beautiful idea that's lodged in my heart, which is that the Torah is the collective dream of the Jewish people. And the way that I took that is I take my dreams and what's happening inside me as deep information about what my path is, how to respond, what I can learn about myself. What would it be if every time that we opened the Torah and read these stories of Joseph, these stories of whatever, what if we imagined that this was our dream? We woke up and we had this dream of Joseph and his brothers and all of this, but all of the things in the dream were part of our own psyche. Were part of the psyche of the Jewish people. How would we then interpret it? How would we relate to it if we made it personal, if we made it collective, as opposed to a story out here that may be real, may not be real? What would it be like for our own sense of our own personal growth forward and our growth as a people if the Torah was the collective dream of our people? Shabbat Shalom. So we will kind of conclude this part of our service as a transition into Musaf with Kaddish de Rabbanan. Please stand. 111. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'gala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha brichu le'ela minkol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Al Yisrael ve'al Rabbanan ve'al Talmidehon ve'al kol Talmidehon ve'al kol ma'an daskin ba'oraita di ba'atra hadein v'di b'chol atar ve'atar yehe lahon ulchon shlama rabba china v'chista v'rachamin v'chayin arichin umzona revicha umforkana min kodam avuhon di vishmaya ve'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim tovim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mrumav hu v'rachamav ya'asei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Please stay standing.
Okay, we're going to have a zippy quick Musaf service. We'll begin together on 185 through the Kedusha on 187, and then continue silently until it's over. 185. I hope so. 185. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor B'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot Umevi Goel Livnei V'Neihem Leman Shemo B'Ahava Melech Ozer Ufokedu Moshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechaye Meitim Ata Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem Mechalkel L'chaim Bechesed Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishene afar. Micha mocha bal givarot, umido melach, melech meimid, umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanat alachayot meitim, baruch atah Adonai, mechaye ha-meitim. Naritzcha v'nakdishcha kasotziach sarfei kodesh, hamakdishim shimcha ba'kodesh, kakatu v'yad nevi'echa, v'kara ze'el ze v'yabar, kadosh, 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 Adonai tzivot, melech ol haaretz kevodo. Kvodo malei olam, mishartav shoalim ze laze, aye mikom kvodo, liomatam baruch yomeru, baruch kvod Adonai mimkomo. Mimkomo, uyifen berachamim, ve'yachonam, Hamiachadim Shemo Erev Vavoker Bechol Yom Tamid Pamayim Be'ahava Shema Omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Hu Eloheinu, Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Vehu Yashmienu, Yashmienu Berachamav. Shenit, 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 Le'enei kol chai, Le'ot lachem le'Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, U'v'divrei kodshecha katuv lemor, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohayich Zion, L'dor vador, hallelujah. L'dor vador nagi god lecha, u'lenetzach l'tzachim kedushat chanakdish, shivchachar l'henim l'pino le'mushlam, v'ekem el hakadosh v'kadosh ata, baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Tikanu Shabbat. Yismechu Malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'Korei Oneg Shabbat Yismechu Malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'Korei Oneg Shabbat Aham Mekadeshei Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat Kulam Yisbehu V'Tangu Mituvecha Shabbat Yismechu V'Malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'Korei Oneg Shabbat. Kaddish Shalem 203. Eat Gadavi et Kadash Shemei Rava Be'am Badi Rockers Heavenly Chmalchote B'Chayachon Ufim Echon B'Chayat Kol Beit Yisrael Ba'Galat V'Zman Kari V'Yimeru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabam Hevorach Le'olam Le'ol Mehol Maya Yibarach V'Shtabach V'Baratram and Asay V'Tadar V'Talevital Shmei D'Kudesha V'Yichul Lamin Kol V'Chatav V'Shirata Tushbagatav and Echmatad, Namiran, Belmav, Himaru, Amen, Kabel Salatanu, Atahun, Israel, Kodam, Avahundi, Rishma, Himaru, Amen, Hesham, Aramin, Shemaya, Vachaim, Alina, Bakro, Israel, Himaru, Amen, Aseshalom, Bimrom, Avu, Yaseshalom, Alina, Bakro, Israel, Bakro, Yisrael, Tevel, Himaru, Amen. Let's do Ein Keloheinu, 204. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadoneinu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Lemalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shehiktiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha, Et Ketoret Hasamim, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Moshienu. We rise for Aleinu 205. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gedulah v'yotzer reshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kaim, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam, shemananu korim, u'mishtachavim u'hodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosei haaretz, Umoshav Yekaro, Bashamayim Mi'ima'al, Ushchinatu zo, Begovhei Merahomim, U'Eloheinu Einod, Malkeinu Efes Zulato, Kakatu B'Torato, V'yadata hayom v'hashevota el levavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim
בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד לתקן על החושב בכל כי המלכות שלך היא, ולא תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, May be seated.
So just wanted to take a couple minutes to say a few things about my mom. First of all, thank you all for being here today. I know it really means a lot to me, and my mom would be thrilled. So thank you, and thank you to everybody online also. It's been an interesting year, and many of you have had a relationship with my mom, so I feel like we've gone on this journey together, and that's a beautiful thing for me also. My mom was, besides being my mom, as you all know, she was an incredible teacher, and she was really like my teacher and my mentor. And the last year of her life, we spent a lot of time visiting, and many of the times the conversations were very just regular things, and sometimes they were profound, and it was a lot like Tuesdays with Maury. If you've read the book Tuesdays with Maury, it was like Sundays with B. So there was one story that I'll share real quickly, just because I think you'll get something out of it, and that was that there was one day we were together, and she was talking about this person that came to visit her, and this person asked her, like, what was her secret, because she was 93 years old, and what was the secret to her happy life? And she starts to go, there's 4 things, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, you got to give me a chance to write this down, because I knew it was going to be one of those profound things. So she gave me these 4 things, which I'm going to read to you, because it says this was the 4 secrets to a happy life, and I don't know whether they're in order or not. I guess you can decide for yourselves about that. So here they are. The first one was belief in God. And she qualified each one of these things. I think, well, some of them she did anyway. Belief in God, and she said to give thanks for the good always. The second one is honor your loved ones, devotion and unconditional love. The third one is love yourself like you love God, and take care of yourself like your body is a shrine. She qualified this one with nutrition, which was a big part of her life, and situational awareness. And the fourth one was do at least one thing every single day to help someone who is worse off than you. Perform some act of loving kindness. So I'll just leave you with that, because I could talk about her for a long time, and I don't want to. Lunch is waiting for us, so Shabbat Shalom. We'll talk more. I'll have to write a book, but we'll talk more.
Sunday should be.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you. So in addition to honoring B, we're also very aware that our dear friend Norbert Kaufman passed this past week, and was buried yesterday or 2 days ago, and we're in the Shiva for Norbert, and so he's very much held in love in our hearts, and we're really glad that you guys are here. We're also in the Shloshim period for Joan August. And you can stand as I say the name of your loved ones that we're going to say that you're saying Kaddish for. We're also commemorating the following yahrzeits: Toby David Balaban, Pete Beckwith, Francis Binder, Bobby Cherry, Sendar Edberg, Eleanor Finkel, Aziz Faroj Bakash, Sidney Greenstone, Rosa Halaj, Harry Heskin, Joe Eisen, Alex Kirsch, Linda Kruger, Max Lemes, Fred Lapin, Carol Ann Levin, Janice Lipsitz, Lillian Marcus, Adele Motenko, Joan Nortel, Manuel Orenstein, Jessica Petty, Francis Resnick, Mortimer Resnick, Abraham Rogovin, Gertrude Rubin, Mary Schneier, Larry Shapiro, Ralph Stern, Marcia Stearns, Zushia Wyman, Belle Weintraub, Milton Wolfson. I'm also still saying Kaddish for my father, Lee Weeder. Also all those who perished in the Shoah. Is there anybody else that we're saying Kaddish for today? Please say the name and stand. Thank you. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 207. You may stand or sit according to your custom. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol bei Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memory be for blessing. Okay, Rob, come on up. Rob Fetcher, one of the members of our Board of Trustees, will share some.
Okay, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Before I begin, I actually want to introduce somebody who's not only going to be new to our congregation, but effective on Monday is going to be our executive director, Lisa Beth Lobenthal. I'm not going to put you on the spot, and you can grill her later at lunch. No, it's Shabbat. You can't ask any business questions. Tomorrow, at the BE Sisters are sponsoring a presentation by author and producer Marta Fuchs, and she's going to speak. That's at 2 p.m. It's upstairs. You have to pre-register if you don't mind. Everything I say is on our website, so I'll let you direct yourself afterwards. Marta's going to talk about, it's actually an intergenerational memoir. It's about her father who survived the Holocaust in Hungary, and later how the family was able to escape the communist rule, I believe in the mid-50s as well. So it's going to be kind of an interesting opportunity to hear her story. Tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m., we're going to have the opportunity to support Norbert's family at the Shiva Minyan, which is at Heritage Point in Mission Viejo. The address, it's on Bella Gente, it's off of Crown Valley Parkway, so if you're able to, please help them. And
also Tuesday night as part of the
okay. On Tuesday morning, we're going to have, of course, the Rabbi's Meditation Service, which is pre-recorded online, and then the Marty Stein Refuah HaNefesh Healing Service, which is at 6:30 p.m., and we'll have also the opportunity as well to support Norbert's family, Jared and Samara. January 15th is KISS, the Kol Hashah Shabbat service, which is, if you're not familiar, it's all women-led. Wendy Loophole is the coordinating all that. So if you have an opportunity to want to participate in many ways, you're able to do that. You can also, gentlemen, we can also support it with assisting her. So there's some parts for us. And also, if you'd like to contribute to the Kol Hashah Kiddush Fund, you can do that online as well. Last but not least, I understand the Mahjong cards are available. So if you're interested in that, first things first. Karen Forrest is the person, and she has an interesting email, boopido1@gmail.com. You can look that up. But if not, Karen has been the one that's rejuvenated our gift shop. So their hours are posted on the door. Please take a look and see what's going on. Norma, you had one.
January 11th is going to be a Tu B'Shvat Seder.
Oh, okay.
Sponsored by the sister.
Oh, great. Okay, so further information will be forthcoming on that.
January 1st Friday, will be what, the 8th?
Yeah. Always first Friday, so, oh yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that next week. Okay, we'll conclude the services, and then we'll step outside for Kiddush and Hamotzi, and then we'll go upstairs for a luncheon, and I think there's some protocols that you might want to speak about.
Thank you, Rob.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, just real quickly for our protocol for eating, because this is new, this is our first actual Temple Beth El Saturday morning Kiddush. So how it works is when you're up in the banquet hall, just think of it like how it's been at restaurants. When you're up in the banquet hall, you need to put your mask on. If you don't have a mask, there's extra masks that are around, and you have the mask while you are up and about at the banquet hall, whether you're standing and talking to people or whether you're getting yourself food. When you come and sit down at your table, you take off your masks and feel free to keep them off while you're at your table, schmoozing, eating, whatever that is. But in that banquet hall space, if you're not sitting, keep your masks on. Thank you.
Okay, we will conclude with Adon Olam on page 211, and then out to the fire. Adon Olam asher malach beterem kol yitzir nivra li'etan asa v'chefza kol azai melech shemo nikra Azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hoveh vehu yehyeh betifara vehu yehyeh betifara Vehu echad v'yed shedi lehamashil lo lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit velo ha'oz v'hamisra velo ha'oz v'hamisra Vehu Eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chevli b'yetzara Vehu nisi umanos li menat kosi b'yom ekra menat kosi b'yom ekra Beyado afkid ruchi be'et ishan ve'ayira ve'ima ruchi gebiati Adonai li velo ira Adonai li velo ira Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Yasha Koah.
When are you gonna start gainful employment, young man? I know that. I'm gonna write you a check.
Right, he's the VP. He's the first person to know. Well, I don't know.
Distraction.
Shittim.